So, food is not just the fuel, but the base of our existence. That is what helps us to grow, feel healthy. Don't over and intellectualize everything. Keep chill a little bit. Moderation is key for everything. This motivation is nothing, consistency is important.
The beginning of a new year often comes with good intentions and a whole lot of pressure. Pressure to eat right, to feed our kids better, and to get the nutrition right. And honestly, as a working parent, I struggle too. Like figuring out what to cook, what to pack, and how to make each meal nourishing without feeling overwhelmed. And that's why today's conversation is not about perfection. It's about simplicity, balance, and making food feel joyful again. Because feeding kids shouldn't feel like another thing we are failing at. If you resonate with that thought, let's jump right into it and explore this together. I will see you inside. Welcome to the Conscious Children Project, a podcast by Mudita Circles. I am your host, Shruti Desai, a parent, kids yoga educator, and someone who left 12 years in the corporate world to walk a more intentional path. This podcast is a space to slow down and to reconnect with what truly matters. Not just how we nurture our children, but how we grow alongside them. Each season, we explore themes close to the heart of childhood and consciousness. And in this season, we will be exploring the 8 limbs of yoga as a framework for understanding the child as a whole. Each episode will focus on one aspect of the child's development, and we will dig deeper into what truly supports their growth emotionally, physically, socially, and spiritually. Let's get right into it. Hi, Jalpa. Thank you so much for joining us today. And let's get right into today's topic. So, it's all about
Yes.
nutrition. As we move into the new year, I'm really hoping that this conversation can be something parents like me actually lean on because so many of us struggle to put together a meal that isn't just filling the little tummies, but it's more on the nutritious, healthy side. If you can help us understand what is nutrition and then what is a nutritious meal.
Yes, so it is very, very easy for all the new parents to become too overwhelmed with all the informations available on internet, and it is confusing as well.
Right.
So in simple words, when we are talking about the nutrition, it means which helps child to grow, feel energized and satisfied, and then emotionally connected with it as well. That is what the nutrition is about, which helps us to be our best. So, food is not just the fuel, but the base of our existence. That is what helps us to grow, feel healthy, do what we want to do in life. So it is a base of our existence.
What is a balanced meal and how can a parent put together a balanced meal without that becoming an additional task on their head or does not add more pressure.
Yes, parents are busy with their own career and life, and it becomes really hard to, make choices. What is balance, what is not. So, in simple words, if I tell that balance meal means, it includes all the food groups, it is nourishing, it is providing enough energy, and it is, in a simple word, we can stick to the real food. So balance is real food, which is giving us the enough energy to do all our tasks throughout the day, and it includes variety.
So, for anyone listening, start with real food, not a packaged meal, but
Correct.
something that is fresh, cooked, and provides variety. It's not just one thing that you're putting into their lunchbox, but adding a lot of variety into the lunchbox. We hear a lot about having a rainbow on the plate. I love the idea. I love having colors. However, if you can elaborate and help us understand How does color add nutrition or nutritional value? Does color have any nutritional value, or more, or is it more about the evoking the emotions in the children?
Actually, it is both, you know. So, who doesn't like fun, right? Who doesn't like variety, and especially kids? So, when we are talking about the rainbow plate, rainbow basically multiple colors, you know, and when you are trying to include different kinds of colors, it means there is a different variety coming from different, food group. So, someday it may be rice, someday roti, someday oats. So, or different kinds of vegetables, fruits, nuts, all of them have a different colors and different varieties, and all of them have a different, minerals, nutrition's point of view. It all has a different kinds of essential amino acids or some minerals in one and another. So, when you include a rainbow, it automatically brings the balance, in general.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. So
And it is fun for the kids, to see different colors. Not just the kids, as parents also, it's fun to have. So there should be fun in eating as well.
right. No, that is actually a very good point. If you can incorporate the fun element into the meal, they are more engaged and they are more inclined to try new things. Versus if
Yes.
you don't have the fun element, they don't want to try anything new. Kids are usually reluctant to try anything new, and especially food. If there's, it's the same old food every day, they probably will not want to try anything outside of that.
Yeah. So the thing is, when we include fun and joy in a meal, there is another thing is that it brings more satisfaction and more emotional connection to our food, right? And your relationship as well, as a parents and child, or even your guest, friends, we all are, kind of connected with the food. We talk about food, different cultures, different, varieties coming from different place or different parts of the world. So it
Mhm.
is not just about just the food, but having the emotional connection, building the memories with the kids. They will remember certain things. So, what extra efforts you are putting into it, or if they are also part of those memories, if they are also helping you out to do things. So, it's very, very fun activity for the kids, for the parents, and it's like a, effortless building relationship.
When you were talking about it, I was trying to remember, like, sometimes our favorite food is actually not the food itself, it's the memory that that food brings in. It could be
Yes.
that, we try that meal with family or friends, and it was so much fun while we were eating, and that becomes a
Yes.
part of that. We associate that emotion with the meal, and that becomes our
Yes.
favorite meal.
Right. Yeah. So it's really good, because food, emotion, social connection, that what brings us to ourself and our culture, and it's such a nice thing. We all humans interaction happens through food. So it's we have to give some more importance to the joy and uh, kind of a rainbow, creating a rainbow on the
Right.
emotions and happy feeling.
And not make it monotonous, and
Yes.
yeah, and give it more time, because that's the base, right? So we should give more time to kind of sit and eat versus being in front of a gadget or being in front of a TV while having it.
Yeah, yeah. I think there should be some importance given to the meal time, which is because everything is whatever we are doing is to bring the meal on plate. And if that is enjoyable and satisfying and nutritious, what we want, right?
True.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. When meals feel rushed or tense, even the healthiest food does not seem to land the same way. Like you very well said, right? We make a oats, right? And if you don't add fruits, or if you don't make it have the rainbow effect, kids are not drawn to just eating plain oats. And even though
right.
it's so healthy, it becomes such a task to get them to eat.
Correct, correct. So, actually, it doesn't give the satisfaction of eating. So, this habit has to be built from the childhood in a way that when there is a healthy food, you are connected to it and you feel good about it. It's not about like, oh, I have to eat this boring food because it is healthy.
Right.
So what happens with those kind of emotions is that, if you are eating boring or unhealthy or so-called healthy food, and then eventually you will have a guilt feeling, or
Mhm.
you will be in that cycle of guilt, again building it up, again going back to the zero and all those things. So it's better that from the childhood there are good habits are formed. Kids
Mhm.
are also informed about the different food, and of course we make it interesting according to our taste. We all, not just the kids, we don't like to eat only same food every day, or boring food in a way. So if there is change of food, it definitely helps, and with the same ingredients we can be more creative as well.
True. You've eaten
Yeah.
a healthy meal, you're actually full, you're not hungry, but you still crave for that saltiness or that, the sweetness right after the meal.
Correct.
Why you think, is it because of that emotional disconnect, or why does that happen?
Yes, it is a emotional disconnect, that from the beginning, if the kids are not introduced this kind of food, which is healthy, which is, according to your own taste. Your home will have different kinds of taste, right? Every home
Right.
has a different varieties. So if those kind of food are not introduced from the beginning, they will not have any connect with it. And suddenly, if you are like telling them that, okay, now you eat this healthy food, they will not take it will, and it takes time to develop taste, right? So from childhood, it becomes easy if you make them aware that, okay, this is the good food. Today it is day for this, and this is helping them to grow. It will help them to build muscles, or it will help them to get the more focus. So if you connect all those ideas, they will understand, and then they will have a satisfaction with it.
Yeah. Introducing healthy stuff in the beginning will have a longer impact, right? So I keep wondering about how these two are so different and how they like different stuff. Does it have anything to do with us, being intentional?
I
Yeah.
think we all are unique, isn't it? We all have different choice. So, your both the kids can have a different choices, and you and your husband might have different choices. You as growing up kid might have a different choices versus now. So it keeps changing with the kids as well. What is important here is that, to make them aware, instead of saying no and avoid, it is better to work on what we need to include more.
Mhm.
So, and understand that what are the portion size, how much we are supposed to eat, and say no if you do not want to eat. And as a parents, we know when kids say no, as a parents, we respect it. And
Mhm.
when they are actually hogging onto it, then as a parents we also have to say no, and kids also have to understand that. So I wouldn't say that kids shouldn't be eating chocolates at all. Let them have some fun, but it shouldn't be like, craving for it. And just because, if, when we keep saying no, if they understand that this is not touchable, we can't have it, then their intention will, they want to go and do it, right? So it's a child's emotion, they want to do it. So better you introduce them, tell them that this one is only enough for a day, or if you keep eating, what are the side effects of it. So let them choose instead of continuously avoiding and all those. That will help. Let them choose in the right portion. Let them understand why you are saying no.
Yeah, that makes sense. And moving to the next question, how can parents think about food as a whole nourishment, not just, physical, but emotional and even energetic, especially for children? I think we touched upon slightly in the beginning is about how we add the emotional value. And I think the
Yes.
physical could be like when you're preparing the meal, maybe including them in the preparation aspect.
Yes, it's now it's very important that kids learn to cook, learn to understand about the ingredients. In today's time, I see varieties of our food are becoming extinct actually. Some of the food we are not cooking, we do not know. Yeah, like our cultural integration, certain ingredients are not at all part of our meals. So when you yourself as parents start involving all those things, plus when your kids are also involved, it will help. So I'll give you example, like in India, in many homes, people do fast on Ekadashi, right? That
Hmm.
specific day. And those days are for the specific kind of meals like rajigra or sabudana or other amaranth varieties and kuttu ka atta in Hindi if we say, or shinghade ka atta. So those food are not part of regular day, but it
Right.
those are cooked only during this specific Ekadashi day. And similar way in many other culture also, if you go to Jewish or other cultures, they also have a specific food for the specific kind of days or fast and all. So we are not doing it now. So
Mhm.
what is happening is that kids do not know about those ingredients. Kids do not know the value of those ingredients. So it's better that we start going back to our roots in a way. So we know we can preserve our culture, preserve our varieties of food, and that is introduced to our kids. So, nowadays, if we see, kids cannot even name 10 different vegetables. So we have to start from the basic. We can take them to the grocery stores, show them the different vegetables, different fruits, different kind of grains, different kinds of, pulses, different kinds of even meat if you are meat eater. So that will definitely help them with, choosing well. So it's
Mhm.
important that this awareness is there, education is there, and it has to start from the parents and not from the kids.
Right. This is a great activity as well for parents and children to do when they step out, to have their children accompany, help them choose the vegetable, maybe connect that to a meal, saying this, ask them questions like what can we make out of it, or help them choose how to pick a vegetable, whether, what is a ripe one, which one is a raw, and,
Right.
that becomes a fun activity. And you're also educating them, you're also at, helping them decide, imagine what can be prepared from it. It becomes a fun activity, and they probably, when the meal is prepared, they're more like, oh yes, I picked this vegetables, and that's what is
Yes.
cooked today. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is fun for them, right? And then they will learn. And it's good to be creative.
Right. No, that's a great
And
point.
kids, I'm sure kids will come up with a lot of creativity, picking up
Yes.
the vegetables and mixing and matching things and all that. So
Right.
it's important that, they are part of process.
Right. That I think that's the key, is the selection of the vegetables, or while preparing whatever is doable. It does not have to be that
Yes.
you have to do all of it at once, or all of it at all times. Whenever you can incorporate, add in a little bit of fun here and there, that will make the
Yeah.
food, having a meal together, more engaging.
Yeah. And let
Yes.
them help you, otherwise mom will be overburdened. So let them help you.
Yes, yeah, I think that also is fair. I mean, like, if you can figure out what are some things that they can do depending on their age, it's
Yes.
good to have. Sometimes, we often think it's easier for us to do, versus having them. But I think they also learn, and it also becomes a fun activity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think in that, mothers also have to trust their kids that they
Yes.
will be able to do it. Sometimes mothers have this urgency, like, okay, I'll finish it and I'll feed you. That's it.
Right. Right.
So that urgency is always, there for the mothers, but mothers also have to calm down, understand, and let them, even if there is little mess, not just the mother, I would say fathers also, but if there is little mess, that can be cleaned, that can be taken care of, but the process what kids are going to learn will go long way.
Let me move on to the next task. And I think this is a good reminder for all of them listening, is it's okay. Oh, I mean, when you have kids, it will get a little messy, and you can always clean this. But like you said, if you're involving them, that those memories will definitely go a long way, and that becomes a very fun, engaging part of the meal itself.
Yeah, and as a mother, as a family, you can be little, plan it well. So if you plan it well, it will not become overwhelming. When you are trying to do everything at the same time, it will be overwhelming. But if you have planned your weekly meals, or if you prepare certain things in advance, for example, chopping. If your kids are very small, maybe you can do chopping and then ask them to help to mix certain things or mix ingredients and all those things. If your kids are big enough, you can ask them to chop and keep it ready for the next day. So that will help. So planning and organizing will help, and it will not bring the anxiety and kind of rush to meals.
Yes, I think that is a key, is planning and organizing, and planning ahead of time will help you kind of stay calm, relaxed, and enjoy the moment, savor the meal versus being in
Yes.
that rush. Moving on, like, for most parents, like in the mornings, it's like a rush, right? Waking them from the bed, getting them ready, packing their meal, and sending them off to the school at the right time is
Yes.
so stressful. How can we incorporate or have easy breakfast options that is not a packaged meal, but at the same time, a quick fix that parents can put together?
Yeah, so you know what we talked in the earlier point, that planning ahead.
Right.
So if you have planned ahead, then you will also not be in rush.
Hmm.
Everything would be ready, and there are multiple options which you can work on. Certain food which is actually good when it is, eaten on the next day, like a kanji,
Hmm.
which is fermented. So you need to keep it for a day. And
Hmm.
if you can prepare it overnight and then next day it's ready for everyone. So that is easier option for the breakfast. And another thing is, as we talked about the real food, so it's okay if your son is just not interested in having a breakfast and sitting and all. He wants to take 10 minutes extra in sleep rather than just waking up early and eating. So he can just take little slow, and when he is hungry, he can choose different fruits, which is very easy for mom. Give him good fruits, and it would be satisfying for him.
Hmm.
Fruit and milk is good option. Fruit and yogurt can be an option. So there are lot of things. Fruits plus some cucumber, carrot, which is like a handy. They can just take it and eat it and go.
Hmm.
So let them have that in their own way. You just keep introducing that certain good healthier food and
Hmm.
variety. So for them, one day it can be banana, one day it can be apple, one day it can be carrot and cucumber. So
Right.
for them also it will be fun, and they don't have to sit, they can run around and eat. Now, I would say that we do not have to intellectualize and overanalyze everything.
Right.
As long as your kids are growing well, they have enough energy, and if they are eating real food, that's what I said, right? Real is balance. So if they are eating fruits, vegetables, cheese stick, maybe a paneer, so as long as they are eating real food, we don't have to be too worried about it. Just know that they have enough energy, they are growing well, and it is taking care of it. Just keep
Mhm.
introducing healthier options. Ask, let them choose healthy. That should be more of our task than what
Right.
are they eating.
Right. No, that's
Like
that
like
simplifies.
like our typical meals, if they are not eating our typical meals, or if our idea of our breakfast
Right.
or a meal, as long as they are eating healthy in a right portion, we don't have to be behind them too much.
Mhm. No, that is actually a very simple. Oh, I mean, you've simplified it to most parents who think like I was, that, if it is a breakfast, it has to be a certain type of food. It doesn't really have to be, which
Yes.
is really helpful. And like you said, don't focus on the type of the food, but look at it from, is it a real food? Is it coming from a package? Does it have a nutritional value? And how much does my child need depending on the age?
think about it that way versus the actual type of the food. That makes a
Yes.
lot of sense.
And I think, as a mother, understand that they will grow up, they will
Right.
choose themselves. So your job is not to provide, but to make them equipped what they are going to choose. So focus over that instead of, just doing things for them.
Right. Yes. I think empowering them with all the different kind of foods and what their
Yes,
nutritional value is, helping them differentiate between junk versus real food, and
right.
over time they will only feel drawn towards the healthy options. And like
Right.
you said,
Yeah.
don't keep saying no to the junk, because that will create the more. I mean, they will want to eat more and crave more for it, and
Yes.
introducing, I mean, having some leniency on the junk food as well. Yes, I think that really helps a lot. A lot of us, grew up reading or labeling foods as good or bad. That mindset, can sneak in without us realizing that some food are good, some food are bad. Is breaking food into carbs, proteins, fats really helpful for kids, or is there a gentle way, more intuitive approach parents can take?
They both are important. So when you know about carbs, protein, fat in general, in organizing it, so what will happen is that you will be able to build the balance plate yourself.
Hmm.
So it's important that you understand the roles of what are carbs, protein, fat, minerals, and even water, vitamins and water. So if you understand the roles of every food group, you will be able to understand it, put it into a plate in a better way. So it helps in organizing and creating a plate. But what is the intuition and what will that help with is that, it will help to understand how much portion you want, if you are feeling satisfied or not, if after eating those food, if you are feeling energized or if you are feeling really lazy and lethargic. So
Hmm.
both of them, understanding about the food groups, awareness, and your intuition and your cultural aspects of the food, they both are important.
Got it. Yeah. So that, like you said, having that understanding, they will be able to put together a meal going forward when they have to prepare a meal for themselves. I think
Right.
that's good. Like you said, equip them, empower them along the way so that they can put together a balanced meal by themselves. Yeah, that makes sense.
How we build the intuition in them is that, when as a mother we are preparing something, and then if only two bites are left, we ask them to finish it. And if they are saying no, that they have done, we also have to respect that,
Right.
that we don't have to finish this meal because it's done and we have prepared and we have put a lot of effort. If kids are saying that I'm full, we have to accept that okay, they are full. Yeah, so what will happen in a long way with that is that they will understand their hunger pattern when they are full, and then how much they want to eat and what they do not want to eat. So from the child's perspective, I would say that respect their yes and no, what they want, and educate them well.
An early childhood expert. That's what she said, that she used to lead the class with Montessori and kindergarten students.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
in a class group where there are Indians, Americans, and kids from various different geographies and various different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
everybody used to finish their meal within a given time except Indian children. uh, and because the fact that Indian kids are usually fed by their parents at home, and so
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to finish a meal in a given time, whereas everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
it's also the kind of the food that's been sent to them, and also it's not just one thing but both, like they are mostly the food that's packed is like finger food which can be eaten fast, and also that they've
Mm-hmm.
already been practicing eating by themselves. So that
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that it's not just the meal that we send. We should also make sure that we are practicing for them to eat independently.
Yeah, that is one thing. And what you mentioned is that, kids who were able to finish in certain time and Indian kids weren't. So we have to compare what foods are, like you also
Right.
said, right? Take finger foods and what is it. Now there can be a question mark over there that if they were eating healthy, all of them or not.
Right.
So that's a different topic, that
Right.
who finished in what time. I think what I feel is that yes, kids have to be independent and eat themselves. With that, it's also important that as a mother, we are sitting with them, we are talking to them, helping them to understand the meal. So that is also a bonding time, right? So we need to have a balance. Don't have to make our kids independent from the age of 5. They will become independent. So that time is also important, that when you are actually, giving them a food, feeding them sometimes with love, that will also create a good emotional bonding with the food and with the mother.
Mhm.
Yes, there has to be balance in everything always.
Right. Yes. So I think that's a fair point. Is not, I mean, there's not one way or the other, that it's the affection and the love that comes with the feeding aspect is also good. And you should also know where to draw the line and when to start having them eat by themselves so that they are ready for the school. And when they are supposed to eat by themselves at the school, they are equipped to manage that on by themselves. uh,
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
And new research now, I mean, it has been ancient knowledge, but now the new research is also identifying is that you should be taking some good time to eat. Chew it well. When you chew your food well, then there is more absorption happening into your body. So you don't have to rush into eating. Have a small portion as much as you need, but take time and eat. That will help to digest food better, absorb all the nutrients better.
And they also say that, it takes about 20 minutes before your stomach really understands that it's full. So
Yes,
chew slow, I mean, eat slowly and chew multiple times before you swallow
yes.
the food. Yeah.
Yeah. So in 20 minutes, you can eat the full plate or you can eat one bowl of a plate. It is, also a portion, but that chewing well, that also has to be, emphasized.
Yeah, that, yes, chewing is, I think, the key here, in
Yeah.
terms of, yeah, that you are not just eating slow and talking, but the
Yes.
fact is that you're spending more time on the
More
chewing
time with the
aspect.
food.
Yeah.
Yes. It's doing it with the awareness, basically.
Yes,
So
and it
when
goes
you
back to
are,
that mindfulness, right? Anything
yes.
that you do, if you are mindful, I think half the work is already done.
Yeah. So creating little awareness and spending time and enjoying that food, for 20 minutes. 20 minutes, in 20 minutes, if you eat a one bowl of whatever you are eating, or your cereals or poha or anything like that, your bread and butter or anything. But if it is only two slices and if you are taking time to eat, chewing well, you will be satisfied in two slices. If you are eating too fast, then three or four slices will go and you will not even understand.
Right.
So chewing well and taking time.
How can parents model moderation, balance, without becoming rigid and overly controlling?
It's just don't do it as parents.
Okay.
It's very simple that they will look at you and learn. So if you want them to learn something better, something uh, develop better habits, you just do that. You don't even, your job will be done if you are doing things correctly for yourself. You don't even have to continuously focus on them and continuously look at them, that oh, if it's like a project, like if your kids are doing it well or not. You don't
Right.
have to do them. You just give them the right atmosphere, right kind of tools, right resources. They will flourish. It's You don't have to control them at all. They are individual, they are unique, and then they will have their own personality. Understand that they will have their own choices. You just do the right thing, they will do the right thing.
Right. That is the I mean, that's the hardest lesson that we learn once we become a parent is modeling the goodness and being that good person at,
Yeah.
at all times and making the right choices. Considering that, the choices that we make is keeping in mind that those are the choices that they will end up making for themselves as well. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's like the first rule of parenting is, it starts with you and then it kind of
Yeah.
follows.
Yeah. And I think we underestimate kids' intelligent as well.
Right.
They do understand well. Talk to them in a way like you would be talking to an adult,
Hmm.
and you will see that there is a huge difference because they will feel respected. Their
Right.
opinion matters. So when you talk to them clearly and communicate them in a well manner, you respect them, it will show in a longer way. Oh, their heart will be full. That's my experience, that when you treat them, that they are respected and their opinion matters, they will show different intelligence and different point of view to you. They also have their certain intelligence which will help you to learn something better as a parent.
100%. I completely agree. I think when you speak to them as an adult, respect them, I think they acknowledge and also reciprocate it versus like if you go with an approach that I am your mother, I brought you to the world, and this is what I am going to say, and you have to do it, then there is no buy-in at
Yeah.
all. It's more
Yeah.
forced approach versus if you say, here's what I know, this is what is good, and this is why we
Yes.
should do, and what are your thoughts. When you ask them and when you're open for their thoughts, they come up with so much ideas. They start sharing that this is what they heard at school, this is what their
Yes.
friends shared, and it becomes a part of
Yes.
the conversation. I
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of having just one way, because I'm mother or father, you have to listen to me. Instead of that, you have a conversation with them. Learn about the ideas, learn about the opinions, and of course, with your own experience, because you are well equipped than the kids with the information and awareness and pros and cons. You tell them. Of course, you want to protect them. You want to teach them the right things and right values, but when there is a conversation, it is easier for the parents to teach kids and kids to accept your opinions and your ideas.
Right, completely, completely. So I think one last question is, how can
Mhm.
these conversations evolve as children grow and gain more independence around food? The way we talk about food with a toddler is so different from the way we talk to a teenager's needs, right? So how
Yes.
can these conversations evolve as the children grow?
Yeah, so when it's like when they are toddlers and all, the influence is about parents and their choices and all. But when they become teenager, they have much more influence, right? Not just the parents, but they go to their school, they will be more aware about the different cultures, different people, different friends, different kinds of movies, social media, all those will be there for them to explore and understand. So, you, as a child, the values what you have given and awareness what you have created will help them to choose at that time. And as a parents, you can trust them a little bit, during those years when they are teenagers and when they are making choices for themselves. Instead of forcing them or feeling scared for them, they might make certain mistakes, and they will learn from those mistakes. But you have to trust them with the values and information you have given to them during the childhood, toddler age to the kids and all those. Trust them, let them make some mistakes, and let them know that you are there for them. And nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. So have the conversation in a different way, that it's okay, we make mistakes. Certain things you learn from our mistakes,
Mhm.
certain new mistakes you are going to make,
Right.
but it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes and explore the world, but understand the pros and cons. So try as much as possible to make right choices.
Mhm.
and let them explore the world. They will anyways. So,
Right.
they will. And as a parents, when you are too scared or too, about, let's talk about the food point of view. As a teenager, their requirement will change for sure. They would be needing more food, and their growth, they will be hitting the growth spurt, so their requirement about the protein goes up, calcium and iron, and especially girls, they hit the menarche and all that, their requirement changes. So as a parent, you explain them that you need these kind of foods more in your diet, in your meals. So try to include them. Try giving them more protein, more iron, calcium rich food. And they go to different kinds of mood swings as well. So at that time, having the good exercises, yoga, mindfulness, meditation will go a long way. So introduce them to these kind of ideas where they understand, they become aware that, okay, these are the tools which we need to use now.
Mhm. Mhm. Whatever it is, whether it's about food or any values that you want to include, start early and then you build on it as the child grows. And then I think it is for you to step back and allow the children to make their choices and learn from it and be okay with it, because
Yes.
you have built those values, you have built those, you have empowered them, you've equipped them with all those knowledge from the early stages. So I think at this time of, when they are in their adolescence, it's the time for them to explore and for you to step back. It's
Yes.
understanding that is very key. I think that you said that really well. Moving on, what advice or what tip would you give for parents so that they don't struggle to put together a meal?
I think as a family, you should be eating the same meal. Do not worry about giving specific to your kids and all those. So make healthier meal, which includes carbohydrate, protein, fat, minerals. And the simplest way is that you stick to the rainbow and variety. So that will help to build a good plate, and that is good enough for everyone. The portion can be different
Mhm.
for according to the requirement. If it is a toddler, it will be different. If it is teenager, it is going to be different. It's different for parents, right? So portion can be different, but having a similar meal, it will help, as a family to, plan well, take some time. It's not too much to do for a mother if they are working in the kitchen. They cannot, take care of each and every individual's requirement.
Yeah.
So keep it simple, keep it real. And the basic thing is how much we need is this. Our plate can be this, and two meals, like two snacks, handful. So this is easier to understand in a way that this is the food, whatever we are eating for lunchtime, and in between snacks, it can be this size. So that is little easier to understand for the adult. Okay, this is for the adult. For the kids and teenagers, it may be different. And yeah, understanding, keep it real, keep it well planned, and keep that variety.
And moving on to the next segment, which I call the ripple movement, right? You've worked with so many people over, I think you've been teaching for more than 15 years
Decades.
now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm sure you've helped a lot of people. If there is one person, one story that sticks to you, or something that makes you feel like, I'm glad this is why I'm a nutritionist and a yoga teacher, there's a story like that that you would like to share with us.
Yeah, there are multiple stories, I would say, but I personal experience is that when I am helping people out, and if they are able to achieve their goal, healthier goal, it is very satisfying as a, professional, that you have made some positive changes in someone's life, and they are kind of grateful throughout you know. So yeah, and what I would say is that, it's not only about me, but a person who is actually doing, taking care of themselves, achieving health goal. It's about the consistency and discipline. What it says more about them. It's easy to guide them, hold their hand, but it is not, it doesn't happen unless and until person is ready to walk. You can only guide them, but it is their job to do it. And yeah, so I always say that motivation is nothing, consistency is important.
Mm,
Motivation will come and go and all that. So it's not
true.
about, oh, new year is starting, so let's do something,
Right.
and after 2 months you are back to zero. No,
Right.
consistency is boring. Every day it is boring. And I heard this quote in some I think film stars interview, which I would like to quote, is that, soldiers, they practice running or in their physical regime every day. They are not going to the war every day, but
Right.
they, without any motivations or anything, it is just the consistency and discipline that they are doing it every day without missing a moment, right? Because they know that this is going to save their life one day.
Right.
So they do it every day. So that is very, very important, that we do it every day. We want to expand, we want to live healthy. We can increase our lifespan. So consistency is very, very important. Doing the right thing, even if it is boring, every day is important.
I think that has to kind of be if at all something has to be like, on repeat, is
Yeah.
consistency over motivation, consistency over everything. I think even if it is just 5 minutes that you're doing something, consistently doing that activity for
Yes.
5 minutes every day is more important than the time spent,
Correct.
right? Even if you can't dedicate 30 minutes, that's fine, but whatever that you do it
Yes, and
consistently. That
don't
is, I
make
think,
it overwhelming for yourself. What suits in your
right.
routine, what you like, what you can do. So have the short-term kind of goals, but stick to it. That will definitely
Right.
help. So yeah, and it is good to be in this field, that where we are talking about having some small positive changes into people's life. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes. So the role of yoga, right? You bring together both nutrition and yoga in your work, which feels very holistic. How do yoga and nutrition support each other in helping children become more aware of their bodies, hunger cues, emotions around food?
Yeah. Yoga is, I wouldn't say that it's an exercise at all. I see life as a whole. We are not just the body, but we are body, mind, and soul. We have to take care of all these three things together to have the full, enjoy life in a complete way. So what happens with the yoga is, if we are taking it just like an exercise, you are taking only 20% of the benefits from yoga. Yoga is much more beyond that. It is bringing, our breath in the harmony with our body, our thoughts in the harmony with our breath, and our mind expands. It's like a blossoming the whole personality, which brings everything out. And it has yoga, pranayama, meditation has, ability to erase different patterns from your mind, which are like stored from childhood traumas or issues, or even many many lifetime, I would say. That what is there, you can actually change those things. So if you work on it, physical benefits will definitely come on its own, when you are involved into yoga. But take it as a, wholesomeness, whole of, like, a life is full, body, mind, and soul, working on all those aspects. When you do that, you will see that, yoga can bring awareness into your body. No other exercise or any other form can bring. Is that, it's a, we take the whole life, body, mind, and soul together, and we work on
Mhm.
it. So there is a harmony in our body, our breath, our mind, and our soul, how we can enjoy life in a much better way. So yoga brings that awareness. And that awareness is very, very important. It's not only about, it this awareness will help from the things what you are eating, what you are thinking, what kind of choices you are making. It will bring more, connection to yourself. Yoga itself, it means union. Union to whom? Union to our own self, right? Not just this body, but our, there is something much more beyond. And when you are one with it, you will start seeing the different, your choices changes, you feel better in your life, so that happens automatically, but it is again a practice. I'll go back to that, motivation is nothing, but consistency is important.
I think that's the key for this episode is consistency over motivation or anything, and then look at food in a real aspect. I think, like, I mean, even practicing yoga, like you said, brings the awareness back to you, and you start making healthy choices in food because you're more aware. Like, when you're aware, you know how that food is impacting your body. You will start understanding if there are certain foods that you are not able to digest, or your body does not support it. You will start noticing, and then you will either avoid or figure out a way to do it.
Right,
But without that awareness, you will just like eat it without knowing what is happening, and which might result into some
right.
kind of ailment or disease or whatever that could
Yeah,
be.
and there are a lot of teenagers are going through these kind of issues like eating disorders and all that, emotional eating and all. There also yoga can help, because when they start becoming more aware about their own patterns, emotional issues or emotional or depression and food and all those things, how those are connection, so they will start making the right choices, with the practice of yoga, mindfulness and meditation. They will start becoming more aware. And even if let's say if you are eating once in a while, if you are choosing to eat something which is junk, you are still aware about it. You know that, okay, today I am eating it just for the indulgence and it is fine. So that will not bring the guilt or issues with it. You are choosing it for a day indulgence, and then
Right.
again you are back to the normal routine where you are choosing healthier food and healthier habits. So that will
Right.
definitely help instead of going into that vicious cycle where you are eating unhealthy and then suddenly you are torturing yourself with the exercises, and you are doing things like, oh, and then creating issues in your mind. So that
Right.
awareness is very important.
Wonderful conversation, a lot that I take back personally, and it makes my meal preparation, my mornings much more easier, having all these insights. But for families who might not practice yoga, are there simple yoga inspired rituals families can bring into mealtime, even something small like a breath, gratitude, or anything that you recommend?
Yes. So if you are not practicing yoga, you are still breathing, right? So just become
Yes.
aware of your breath. That's it. So when you are eating, see how you are eating and your how the breath is, and just in between, learn to breathe. Just be aware you are breathing, obviously, but I still have to say that learn to breathe is because people don't even know that they are actually breathing. So some, when you are sitting or you are praying, if you are a religious person and all, just sit. And when you are taking that 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, just be completely aware about your breath. That's good enough. And you will start noticing different change things, yourself.
Perfect. That is amazing. Thank you, Jalpa. This has been amazing conversation. I'm sure people listening will probably hear it on loop or come back and listen every time that they want more. I mean, this conversation has, the more you listen to it, the more you kind of understand. There are some depth that we like. We got into a little bit of depth in certain aspects, but it is also simple enough for anyone who is not familiar with yoga could also benefit from. So this is a very balanced conversation, if I can say so. So thank you so much. And for anyone listening, if they want to get in touch with you, do you want to share your website? How can they reach out to
So,
you?
yeah, of course. So my website is nutriyoga.fit.com. So they can go into Google and search for the nutriyoga.fit, and they will find out my contacts details. I have been working in this field, teaching from more than 2 decades almost, and yeah, have counseled lot of people, which is very, very satisfying and grateful for all those experiences. And in the end, I would say that don't over intellectualize everything. Keep your common sense, chill a little bit, and just, moderation is key for everything. This ikigai, and Japanese say that is the key. So don't over intellectualize anything. It's all good. Have that trust and faith, and things will work out.
Perfect. That's a perfect way to end this conversation. Thank you again. And I will have all your details included in the show notes so it will be easier for them to
Yes.
access. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. It was wonderful talking to you.
If meal planning feels hard right now, you are not failing. You are just human. Keep it simple, choose real food, and add little color when you can. And don't overthink it. One small change at a time is enough. The goal isn't perfect meal. It's nurturing children who feel safe, connected, and confident around food. And that starts with you being a little kinder to yourself. A few gentle reminders to carry with you. First, plan less, repeat more. Simple routine reduces daily stress. Second, pack what they will eat plus one new thing. Familiarity builds trust. Third, calm matters more than control. A peaceful meal nourishes more than a perfect one. And remember, this journey does not have to feel rushed. It's one child, one breath, one meal at a time. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, please follow, share, or leave a review for the Conscious Children Project. It helps this space reach more parents who need the reminder that they are doing better than they think. Thank you, and I will see you again. Take care.
And thanks again to our lovely sponsor, Pia. Remember, you can use the code TCCP20 at piabeauty.com to get 20% off. Thank you. Take care.